Today, we're going to be talking about drugs. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Daniel Fazio. I've been an entrepreneur for about 5-6 years now. I'm a co-founder of Client Ascension and ListKit. I make about $500,000 per month. And the entire time, I've been debilitatingly addicted to nicotine and caffeine. So, here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about 1, why you need to be stimulant maxing. 2, how I thought I was going to have a heart attack one time, and I thought I was going to die. 3, why weed is for losers. And 4, my thoughts on alcohol. Now, before I get into this, I am not a medical professional, and you absolutely should not take any drugs at all, ever. And you need to assume this entire video is comedy and parody. Don't take drugs, like ever. Don't do it. So, we're going to start out why you need to be stimulant maxing. And I say this as I have a Celsius here, and I'm going to have another Celsius after this. And the best way for you to understand this is if you're competing with somebody, and this competitor of yours is absolutely stimmied the fuck out, like working 12-hour days, it becomes pretty apparent very quickly that you get outworked. Now, if you aren't familiar with the concept of compound interest is when you have a bunch of assets, like say it's stocks, and the stocks pay you dividends, and they appreciate, and you reinvest the dividends back into purchasing more stock, and the value of the assets goes up, so the base value of the dividends you get roll back continuously higher and higher and higher, until you arise to a point where 30, 40 years, you have an absolutely disgusting amount of money. So the same thing works with effort in your business, because if you want to grow your business, it's typically produced by effort. So if you put incrementally more effort in every single day, you very quickly start to lap many of your competitors, right? If somebody's working 4 hours per day and you're working 8 hours or 12 hours per day, very, very quickly, you absolutely lap and overtake all of them, right? So, typically, caffeine is really good for that. Now, I would like to talk about Zins. Zins and nicotine, and I think it was Alex Hermosi who said this one time. He says he does nicotine, but it's about 1 milligram. So here's the thing with nicotine. The maximum effective dose to get like hyper focus with nicotine is about 1 milligram, like 1 total milligram. Now the problem with Zins and all these other kinds of in the vapes and whatnot, it's a profound amount of milligrams of nicotine, like absolutely disgusting amounts of nicotine. So a singular 3 milligram Zin is 3 times the maximum effective dose of nicotine. You can very quickly see how this becomes an issue, right? And I'm going to explain to you what happened with me and all my nicotine shit. So, about 4 years ago, I was hanging out with this one girl a lot, and I never did any of this, but she was hitting a vape, and like the vape is there, and I'm like, give me the fucking vape. So I'm hitting the vape. And it was always like, I don't buy vapes. If there's a vape, it's there, I'll hit it. But I was hanging out with this girl a lot, so I was hitting her vape a lot. And then she isn't there, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go get my own vape. So now, at that point, now I'm the guy who buys vapes. So, very quickly, I become debilitatingly addicted to nicotine. So, this lasts for like 3 years. And then I'm on Twitter. And if you're not on Twitter, there's like hella health people, and like they're just fucking psyoping you into like, oh yeah, bro, it's cool to smoke unfiltered American spirits. So I was like, fucking all right. Like I head over to Miami. I lived in Miami for a little bit. I'm hanging out with guys like that. We're fucking smoking literally unfiltered American spirits. Then I start buying that shit myself. So there was a point in time where I became one, like just hit nicotine a little bit. Then I started buying the vapes myself. Then I started smoking fucking cigarettes. This became a fucking problem when I started feeling some like weird shit in my lungs one time. And I was like, fuck, I gotta stop this. So I just cold turkey stopped nicotine. Just stopped it. So I don't know what the interactions are between like glucose, like if you have a big meal with a bunch of carbs and you're in a nicotine withdrawal and a smoke in your lungs withdrawal. But one time I was sitting there, it was like day 4, 0 nicotine. I'm like losing my mind. And I have a big meal and it just like chest tightness. And like previously I was getting like chest pain and stuff, and that's why I stopped. But like I at this point I'm 4 days gone. I have a giant meal and like chest tightness, and it's like this surge of like impending doom, like profound amounts of anxiety. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I was like, and I was with another girl at this time, my girlfriend at this time, and I told her, I was like heart rate is up. And I told her, I was like, I think I'm having a heart attack right now. I can't breathe. I literally can't breathe. I need you to take me to the hospital right now. So we go to the hospital, and hilariously, this is so fucking inconvenient. I had just turned 26, so I was off my parents' health insurance, and I hadn't got new health insurance yet. So I go to the ER, they do like a bunch of tests on me. They're like, nothing is wrong with you. And I get a $15,000 bill from the hospital because I didn't have health insurance, because it just lapsed. So at this point, I'm like, I don't even know what to do, because I like can't breathe. I get like burst of debilitatingly impending doom. Like I can't focus. So it's like the worst thing ever. It's an absolutely miserable situation. And I was like colossally fucked. So then I started going over to Zins. I started taking 6 milligram Zins, right? And things are going okay. But then just some weird shit starts happening. I don't know. I think they're putting weird shit in the Zins. And I started feeling weird. Like it felt like nerve problems. And like sometimes, like nicotine really fucks with your cardiovascular system. And like my heart rate would go up like all the time. And it was like a huge fucking issue. So I went from 6s to 3s. And if you immediately cut your nicotine intake by half, you're in a withdrawal. Like you're 100% in a withdrawal. And like you get this it's like fog in front of you. And like you can't, it's hard to focus. Like there's just fog in front of you. So I was on 3 milligrams for a while. And then the same shit started happening again, like the cardiovascular problems. And on the 3 milligrams, so I'm like, fuck, now I need to go down more. So I got 2 milligram nicotine gum. And I'm on that now. And then I'm going to go to 1 milligram lozenges after this. But the problem is you fucking stop taking it and there's this fog. And it's like, fuck, like I'm completely fucked. Now, here's the problem with this. I require an absolutely shit ton of mental bandwidth to be able to produce stuff right now. I typically have the most energy at like anywhere from like 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. where I just have like a bunch of caffeine. It's 9:58 a.m. right now. And I think I'm like 400 milligrams of caffeine here right now. And I've had a little bit of nicotine today. And I'm like fucking turbo focused right now. In fact, I'm so turbo focused that I can sit down and make this fucking YouTube video right now. But if I didn't have the nicotine and the caffeine, there's no way I could sit in front of this camera and talk to you, right? So what I'm doing right now is going down, because I was at the 6 milligram and then the 3 milligram and then the 2 milligram and then the 1 milligram, and I'm adjusting myself to be able to be static at like, I'll have like 1 milligram, bang out some work, and then I'm good. So the gist of this is, if you don't take nicotine, don't fucking start. It's a really big problem, right? So now I want to talk about weed. So in high school, I smoked a pretty good amount of weed, but I didn't like it. It was weird. And then as I got older, I think maybe I was like 21 or something like that. And it would be about like 5 or 6 p.m. Like the sun is going down. Like I got all my work done for the day, and I would smoke a little bit of weed, like literally one hit. And the reason why it was one hit was because I would get this like 30-minute period of extreme amounts of creativity and like really, really good ideas would come out. And I have my notepad and I'd go on a walk and I'd just be like on Apple Notes on my phone and just like writing down ideas. The problem with this is that for the rest of the day, I was completely fucked and just eating a shit ton of food, like just hyper dopamine dependent. And then if you do it for a sufficient amount of time, you're just like perpetually tired all the time. And it really, because it's a downer. So like nicotine, caffeine, that's up. Weed and alcohol, it's down. Like it literally, quite literally, like it pulls your essence down. So if you need to be producing profound amounts of shit and like talking to groups of people, you can't afford to be down all the time. So there's a pretty fair amount of people who would be really good at marketing and sales, but they're like, oh no, I can't do that. I don't like speaking in front of people or doing it. But they would like it and they would be good at it if they weren't constantly being pulled down by weed and alcohol. Because it's just smoking too much weed. And then you just have this like anxiety that's always hanging around you because you're being pulled down all the time. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that you're going to find really fucking interesting. Say if you're above the age of 21, and I started asking people this question, they're like, wow, you're right. When is the last time you went 7 days or even 14 days without having a singular sip of alcohol? 14 days, not a singular sip of alcohol. And you ask this to enough people, and a lot of people are like, I might have been like fucking 18 years old the last time I didn't have alcohol for 14 consecutive days, which is fucking crazy because alcohol is really fucking bad for you. Like it is the definition of, it's literally a poison. It's fucking ethanol. It's like gasoline. It's fucking nuts. And the reason I'm saying this to you is because in November, I was going on this like fucking turbo just level of production, just like making hella shit. And I remember I was on a business trip. We went over to a mastermind, me and my partners, and I'm like on the plane and I'm churning shit out. And we're like at this master, and I'm churning shit out, and I'm like, I'm writing VSLs, ad copy, YouTube stuff, post on LinkedIn, post on Twitter. And it was so easy for me to just fucking churn out content. Like, so I didn't even have to think about it. It just flowed so easily. And I was wondering, like, why is this? Like, how am I able to produce this fucking insane amount of just really good shit, like, so easily without even trying? And towards the end of the mastermind, like, it's like, oh, it's party time now. Like, let's all start drinking. So I start drinking, and then we're talking, and it's like, yeah, bro, like, I've been grinding so hard. Like, it's nice to finally just, like, sit down and drink. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I haven't drank alcohol in 3 fucking weeks. And then it occurs to me, I'm like, holy fuck, like, that's why I was able to produce this profound level of production, was because I didn't fucking have alcohol. And this is really interesting too, because it was like a mental note in my mind where I always liked Thursdays. The day of the week I liked the most was Thursday. I always felt I was so productive on Thursdays to the point where I would not do any meetings on Thursday. Because like, I know every Thursday I'd put out good shit. I don't know why. Like Thursdays are just really good. And then upon thinking of it, I'm like, why? But fucking why? Why is Thursday so good? And then it occurred to me, Thursday is so good because it's the day farthest away from my last sip of alcohol. And then Friday I'd probably drink. Like I'm not like a debilitatingly bad drink. Oh, I get like absolutely hammered. Like I'll just have some drinks and like a Friday, like you go out with someone, you have like 1 or 2 drinks, but it doesn't matter. Like Thursday is just the day that was farthest away from me drinking. And now the problem is if you're like 25, 26, 27, or even 30, whatever the fucking, like you're going out on dates and you're like dating, you're with girls, like you go get drinks. Like that's like the thing to do. And if you exit the house for literally any fucking reason at this age, it typically involves alcohol. So I'm like, fuck, if I just don't drink, I can produce an absolutely disgusting amount of really good work. So, my advice to you is, one, I've never had an issue with caffeine. I can just stop caffeine. It's like not a problem at all. Like, nicotine is a problem. Like, it very much is a problem. Alcohol is a problem. Like, it really just is. So, you should 100% be stimulant maxing caffeine, but you shouldn't be stimulant maxing nicotine and alcohol. If you are going to stimulant max nicotine, 1 milligram lozenge, like max. Like, don't even go above that. Like, nothing happens above it. All you do is get yourself addicted. It's insane to me how it's not criminal that the fucking Zins aren't just 1 milligram. Like, why is it 3? There's no reason for it to be 3. That's so profoundly higher than the maximum effective dose. It's so strange to me. Right? So if you're an entrepreneur and you want some resources about how to help grow your business, you should jump on my email list. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description, and you should go watch this video now. And that's it from me. I love you. Goodbye.